The last month's been chaos. The compressor gave out right before painting, and for a while, I thought that was it. No air, no finish, and no CupCup entry. On top of that, the Ministry of Omniplex Resources started rebuilding infrastructure, which bogged down the grid for an entire week. Then, out of nowhere, a Dominion rep shows up, says I've been selected to trial a set of Gaahleri tools, new compressor, metallics, everything. It's slick. Almost too slick. Not the sort of thing independents usually get for free. And the timing, a little too perfect. Like someone knew exactly when I'd hit a wall. Still, I agreed to test it and report back. I'd originally built the turret to pop open, taking a page from the old B-17s and how the Sperry turret was oriented first to allow entry. It made the entry non-obvious, and hopefully helped to defend the pilot from infiltration. But it was too complicated, and quite frankly, not my best work. That's the thing with working as an independent. You don't just get to make things. You've got to prove they're still worth making. So I scored the top plate, squared out a hinge cut, and dropped in a surface-mounted latch. Simple, but now it opens like it should. Like something a real pilot would trust. Every part has to justify itself on paper. Every roll has to show it's more efficient than just requisitioning a prefab. I carved this shop out one audit at a time. Spent years getting cleared. I couldn't fight, not with my condition, but I figured if I couldn't serve, I could at least build something that could serve. And if I'm lucky, maybe something that matters. I bolt every part straight to its post, threading through wherever the structure allows. There are some exceptions. That keeps everything steady. No shifting and no surprise accidents once the spraying starts. I use washers to protect the mating surfaces and spacers to keep the plates from warping where necessary. I want the paint to land exactly where it belongs. That's the point, after all. I log each piece and arrange them on the rack so they won't collide during coating. I already have a better plate design in mind, but that will have to wait for another time. Once everything's locked in, it's time to prime. The Gaahleri kit includes a GTS-06 mini compressor and a dual-action airbrush with a 0.38mm nozzle. It's a quiet unit with a built-in regulator, and the pressure is easy to read and set. It has a max pressure of 27 psi, which should be enough for my work. While setting up the compressor, I ran across this old funnel I designed. As an independent, making your own tools like this isn't always easy. Thankfully, PCBWay is a partner with the Dominion, offering 3D printing, PCB prototyping, and even full-scale production runs. Honestly, if I had access to their CNC services sooner, that pilot's hatch retrofit might have looked a little less hammed cut. Still, you make do with what you have, like this old moisture trap I found in storage. With that, the system was finally ready to breathe again. As I mentioned, the old compressor has problems. I'll let the footage speak for itself. Before pushing paint through the Gaahleri airbrush, I started by cleaning every part with isopropanol to clean off dust. It's not as thorough as brush cleaning, but it's much easier and faster. The manual says not to use combustibles, so here's evidence that this cleaner won't ignite. I finished capping the rocket tubes, locking each one in place to keep them as pristine as possible. After that, I turned to the ball turret, rushing masking fluid across the windows to keep them clear during painting. Some surfaces are fragile, others transparent, but either way, you protect what matters before the next moment changes everything. The Gaahleri compressor's a solid unit, quieter than my old one with less rattle too. I ran this thing at max pressure for over an hour straight with no issues. The 0.38mm airbrush handled fine detail without clogging. and for smaller parts, it was more efficient at avoiding overspray. But I'm used to volume. When I need to lay down a base coat, I prefer a wider nozzle and a deeper cup. Less fiddling with more coating. So I swapped back to the old 0.5 nozzle halfway through. The good news is, the Gaahleri unit handled both airbrushes fine. Compatible and consistent. That's all I need. When the Dominion sends you something, it's never by accident, and I can see why they're trialing a partnership with Gaahleri. You start to wonder if they're not just testing tools, but people too. Either way, the primer pass went smooth. If the specs line up with your paint, I'd recommend the compressor. I got a lot of feedback on what color scheme folks thought Talon should wear. Plenty of votes for blue, and even a few for bare metal. But it didn't sit right making that call alone. Brian Penkwitz is the collaborator who designed this mech. He's a conceptual engineer I've worked with before, and if anyone deserves a say, it's the guy who sketched the design. We both agreed on olive drab for various reasons. Stands out just enough in the mud to keep ground inventory happy, while being identifiable by infantry. It's a color palette that has stood the test of time since the first war to end all wars, whenever that was. It's actually impressive how much of humanity has been defined by war, even now. To keep the biodiesel engine clean, I masked it with non-Newtonian putty. Cheap, weird, and surprisingly effective. Dominion standard masking tape doesn't hold a candle to it. I'll be recommending it for formal adoption. After that, it was all airbrush, green across the planned surfaces. Once the passes dried, I laid everything out to check for consistency. I peeled the masking putty off the engine. The edges were clean, just as planned. It worked well enough, but honestly, I try to avoid masking when I can. With shapes like these, it's faster to paint by hand. No taping, no wrapping, and no second-guessing the angles. Just a brush, some paint, and the patience to put each color exactly where it belongs. The Gaahleri airbrush is a fine tool. Quiet, reliable, and precise, but it won't paint for you. No tool will. You still need people who know what they're doing. People who can look at a part and know if it needs finesse or force, tape or touch. And that's not something you download. That's something you learn. Somewhere along the line, you stop relying on tools to solve problems, and you start choosing them to suit your judgment. That's when the work starts getting good. I don't like masking, so anything that lets me skip it is worth its weight in gold, and these Gaahleri metallic markers might be the best shortcut so far. Portable anodization applicators, more or less. Give it a shake, click the tip, lay it down, and done. No palettes, no cleanup, and no clogged brushes. The pigment flows like it knows where to go, settling smooth and continuous across flat and curved surfaces. Even the ball turret, entirely plated this way, dried without a single stroke line. They won't reach into deep crevices, but maybe that's a good thing. It saves time, and more importantly, makes you think harder about how you build, where the tools can reach and where they can't. I started using them out of convenience, but they've already changed the way I think about surface geometry. You don't get that from every product. If you've got a mech in the works and you hate tape as much as I do, start here. You won't regret it. I laid down a gloss coat, not to protect the paint, but to prepare for what came next. The insignias and warnings are all markings of ownership. Dominion decals don't just label a machine, they claim it. After all the effort, the shaping, and the hand-painted edges, this is the moment it stops being mine. Its allegiance is dictated by the seal it bears, recognized and requisitioned by agents of the Dominion. Of course, I knew this before applying to the RFP. In my own way, I'm already an agent of the Royal Technocratic Dominion, a cog in the machine. I missed a step. Forgot the red paint. It's not a big mistake, but the gloss will make you pay for it. The paint beads, slides, and resists your efforts on a gloss coating. It's very much fixable, but the steps don't really matter. What matters is time. Time lost, time spent making up for what was missed, and I hate wasting it. But failure is a great teacher. This isn't the first lesson I've learned the hard way, and it won't be the last. I've learned to stop panicking and adjust. Make a note. And next time, get it right the first pass through. Mistakes stick with you, like scars. They tell stories. Everything in the Omniplex gets marred over time. Maybe it's the dust storms, or the raw water in the air, or the simple fact that machines aren't meant to rest. Once a build clears inspection, it's pushed straight into live fire trials. Dirt sprays, coatings flake, shrapnel hits. Even the best paint won't stop a rock from scarring what you work to perfection. But what's the point of looking pretty? When metal chips and layers peel, you don't see failure. You see proof of operation and readiness. Scars show toughness. Dominion systems aren't judged in displays. They're judged in use, just like their people. Talon will degrade over time. Just a bit of diesel oil at first. It settles in, works through every corner, and becomes part of the machine. It does its job. Everything runs smoother. And eventually, it leaks. Its age will show. I've always thought work should be like that. Not loud, not polished, just honest hands, steady rhythm, done well and done often. And in time, if you're lucky, someone notices. Maybe someone from Omnitech, maybe a new patron. If you do good work long enough, the right eyes find it. Some folks raise their voice every time they get a task done, and that's just not for me. I'd rather build, keep quiet, and wait. If something's worth seeing, it doesn't need shouting. It just needs time. I didn't build this thing for them. I built it to see if I had it in me, to do something clean, something precise. Just one job done right, start to finish. That was the goal. Then the message came through. Dominion Vanguard seal at the bottom. No sender name, no return channel. Just orders. They called it an offer, but you don't say no when they use that tone. I'm being reassigned. Full engineering clearance. Vanguard forward hangar. Apparently, someone liked what they saw. It's not what I expected. I thought I'd be dragged into a gunner seat or told to file schematics for someone else's mech. But they want me on the floor. Real gear, real tools, machines I've only seen in grid-wide broadcasts. And I should be thrilled. Part of me is. But it also means shutting the shop down. This place, this bench, I built all of it myself. I didn't think it would end like this. Still, maybe this is how it works. You put enough effort into something, and eventually the Dominion notices. And when they do, it doesn't really matter what you had planned. They'll write you a new plan. And if you're lucky, like me, you'll like where it leads. This is my last audit from this location. Jack Irwin, signing off. One last thing. A sincere thank you to those supporting the Royal Archive. This opportunity means more to me than you know. And welcome to the newest Codex Initiate. It's good to have you on our side.